And welcome to the
Dun, dun, dun.
Long, long ago, in an internet so far away, before net neutrality fell, the Empire. Yes, today it is our Star Wars episode. We're talking about episode 8 today.
VIII.
So, but until then, no spoilers. No spoilers. I know how you guys are all sensitive about that. But who's talking about some good old Force work here? Why, it's me, Nick, the Merc with a mic, and my fellow Unapologist,
Travis.
Yes, and also no Justin today. We are gonna forego the news because we got a lot to talk about Star Wars wise. Plus, we're gonna do a couple more for the trailer talk. We'll still do trailer talk for today.
Okay.
So, and if you want to hear me and Justin talk about the news, why, you can go over to oneofus.net and become a subscriber because they have this great show called The Breakfast Pub, which I was on once again. I think it was my third time now. So if we're going by Dayton rules,
Slut.
I think I'm in it there. I think this relationship might work out as well. How do you get first base on a podcast? Now that I think about it, yeah, something to do with
you get a plug, I guess.
Something with the windscreen, something with a pop filter. I don't know. We'll figure that out as we go. But of course, we would love to hear you youngins here, you younglings. Would you regale us with your thoughts on Star Wars if you have already seen it or would like to see it? We would love to hear your opinions and all that good stuff. You can contact us at unapologeticgeekout@gmail.com. Send us an email, and we might read it on the air here on the show. Or if you just want to just talk to us, we're here. We're not doing anything but talking to these microphones. We might as well talk to you guys directly.
Or pseudo directly.
I mean, I know you guys are listening. You can talk to us back. Unless you like the dynamic of this relationship where we just talk to you. Works for me. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, the thing is, they can turn you off.
Yeah, that's a good relationship. That they get the exact amount of me that they want. So there's just you, and Travis is full of envy right now. You can also follow us on Twitter at UGO Podcast or our Instagram, which is the same thing. Some of our cool, con pics are there. We have some great Star Wars cosplayers on there too. Mm-hmm. I remember the Disney ones.
Yes.
The Disney crossovers. Those guys were cool. We have a great picture of me running away from them.
Couple pictures, yep.
So there's that. Let's see here. You can also, follow us on Facebook at Unapologetic Geek Out on Facebook. We're there. We're pretty much anywhere on any podcast network now. We're on Stitcher. We're on iTunes. We're on Podcatcher. We're on... I thought we were on Google Play, but now I might have to work out Lisbon's new system. So if we're not, we will be back up there on there soon. We used to be, so I'm not sure exactly how that worked. But yeah, we are anywhere you want to listen to us.
You can't escape.
But if you would like to help out the podcast, if you are listening right now, and if not given us a 5-star review on iTunes, well, I mean, I don't want to beg, but I will, because I don't have the dignity to not beg. Please help us and give us one of those good old 5-star reviews. We would really appreciate it. We would love to read your 5-star review on the air, word for word. So if you want to put anything weird in there or something you'd like to promote, anything, I have to read it. It is under contract, under pain of death. We have a new one today as well.
Really?
Well, not exactly exciting. New.
Okay, well, new as it ever seems to be on this iTunes service.
Well, this one, it's very short. It's from Screener G. Screener G writes in, the title is Fun, 5 stars. And in the description box, it says, good stuff. That's it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm done.
We got good stuff.
Hey, that encapsulates it.
I mean, they're not wrong.
It's succinct. It's accurate. It's fantastic. It might be my favorite review, actually. I didn't have to say any big words. I didn't have to go pontificate for a long time.
It's true.
I love it. Screener G, on point, loving it, guy. And thank you for the compliment. I am so excited today. I'm really, I just got off recording another podcast and I was scared I wasn't going to have enough energy to go on it. But Star Wars has me so fucking jazzed, man. I'm in it. I sometimes I feel like I'm not as big of a Star Wars guy as other people, but then like I'll sit in a theater and I'll hit that fucking John Williams theme rolling in. And fucking, did you hear how loud it was in that theater?
It was pretty loud.
This is
Loved
like,
it.
I feel like it gets louder every time.
They have to remind you.
Am I imagining that the John Williams theme is getting louder every time?
They had to make up for us not hearing it last Star Wars movie.
We're playing it at double volume for it not being in Rogue One.
Yes.
So,
still pissed at that, to be honest.
yeah, but before we get into that and some of the good old trailers, how we doing? I mean, since last week, we've watched a couple new stuff.
Yeah.
I'm caught up on Runaways, which is a really interesting series on Hulu, with some of the Marvel Comics Runaways. They had to change up a lot of it from the comics because it's a cool story about their parent. They fought, like, a bunch of these teens figure out that hey, we got superpowers and or abilities and shit, but our parents are supervillains.
Oh.
Yeah, and they have to go on the run because, like, holy shit, our parents are supervillains and are sacrificing, like, people in order to get, like, powers and stuff. Show is basically like that. Like, it's got our friend James Marsters, Spike from Buffy,
Okay.
being another kind of bad guy. They have a girl with a pet dinosaur.
Neat.
It's pretty cool. Pet velociraptor. I love that. That's pretty fun. Let's see, what else did we watch? We were trying to catch up on the anime, so we were watching some interesting animes recently to try and get more into, since we go to so many anime conventions. I always feel bad we don't watch more. What were the names of the ones we watched again?
Blood Battle Blockade.
It's
way too long. We're only on
Triple B.
Yeah, B3 because it's way too long of a name.
B3.
This one I know is, I just started watching it more because I've seen the characters around. I'm like, well, this must be interesting because it has 2 seasons. So let's give this a shot. And then, I don't know actually the other one's actually just called Juni Taisen, or if that's just the name of the battle.
Yeah, so Blood Battle Blockade. I think I got it right. Anyway,
it's those 3 words in some order.
Some order of those words. I should have been prepared for the show. Should have brought it up, but
I mean, we can bring it up.
Yeah, the glory of the internet. What an interesting show. I'll tell you what. Right now, it's funny. Which is a thing that a lot of animes aren't to me, because the Japanese have a very different style of humor.
They do. You have to kind of be interested in their humor.
So I'm surprised at how funny Blood Battle.
Oh, it's a Blood Blockade Battlefront.
But I'm really surprised at how quadruple B how funny it is, because it's very much got like that absurd style humor. And so I'm like, man, this really is funny. It has problems in its narrative department, I think, in which it really has like you could, if you wanted to catch the main narrative of the story, you could really plug in for the first 4 minutes and the last 3 minutes, and you're pretty much done.
Yeah, I mean, we're on episode 9 of 12 of the first season. And
maybe it switches up in season 2. Maybe there's a big shift we haven't seen yet. But, the characters are fun. I feel like our boss character, they really hit home the like how awesome he is. Like every other episode, like we've had 3 episodes now of just dedicated to how awesome this guy is.
Something like that, yeah.
And it's like, okay, I get it. Yeah, he's cool. He's badass. That's awesome. So it's definitely an interesting show. It's got a really frenetic pace that I really enjoy. I keep forgetting our main character's name because
Leo.
he's again got the main character syndrome of being not as interesting as everybody else.
It's true.
But that's par for the course. Juni Taisen is a interesting show that only has the 1 season, am I correct?
Well, it's still ongoing.
Yeah. But I doubt it'll go past much of this, I think.
Seems unlikely.
Yeah. It's a general premise of these tournament being held between these 12 families being represented by the Zodiac. And it's like a proxy war, so that they don't actually have to go all on war on each other in order to like divide for territory. But you also bet on it. And it's like, I don't know, they don't explain this until like the 6th episode or something.
Yeah.
So this show, while interesting, and it has some really neat character designs for it, every character is very distinctive with their animal shtick. And it has some cool people with some neat abilities on there, that's for sure. It really, man, I'll tell you what, we are, how many episodes into that one? 8 episodes?
Probably out of 12.
I'm really sick of the trope that they do with the character planning out their attack.
Only to die
immediately during the battle.
Yeah.
I'm like, that was cute. That was really neat once in the first episode when they do it. And I'm like, wow, what a neat way to introduce a series. And then they do it again, and I'm like, okay, that's cute and everything, but I'm like, I kind of want to learn some about some of these people before they just end up dying.
But then you get your wish, because we spent 2 episodes on one character who's already dead.
So they do it. So they do it again. Then they do it a third time, and they just did it again. And I'm like, God damn it, guys.
To be fair, Sheep did escape the first time.
Sure. But then you're ready for, like, I don't know, some of the animation in this show is really good. Like, some of the fights that they actually do show, there's like a chase scene between Rat and Snake that, like, does a cool shot when they're jumping over this bridge thing.
Yeah.
That I'm like, oh, wow, that's really cool. But then a lot of the fights just are like, you know,
they're done. Yeah, they're done in a split second.
They're just over, and I'm like, cool. And we spend most of the episode on flashbacks for characters that are gonna die in this episode or the next episode.
We're even kind of running out of characters to even root for, honestly.
Well, yeah, and I don't want to spoil too much of anything for whoever wants to see it, but there's not really a main character, but if there was a main character, it seems like that they've switched it up on us in the middle here, and we don't know exactly what we're following anymore. They have a guy named Rabbit on there that is just this weird fucking guy that seems way overpowered for everybody else. The fact that not everyone else has teamed up against him yet is really weird.
Yeah.
Because it feels like they kind of need to.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I do like the design of it. I just feel like the Juni Taisen is not explained almost but at all, but yet they talk about it a lot. Like, they talk about it so much, and yet the things that they do explain just open up more questions, like, and now the betting can commence. I'm like, wait, you weren't betting the whole time? Well, no, we wanted to wait for it to get down to the final 6. I'm like, well, why? To make the betting easier? That's not how betting works.
Not usually, no.
Like, what does it matter? Like, it's still a crapshoot on who's gonna win.
Actually, maybe not so much, because there's not probably a house in this version of a bet, so, you know, it's gonna be whichever country wins no matter what.
Sure. And then they just go like, oh, well, these people are proxy war for territories. But I'm like, looks like there's plenty of actual war going on. It'd be one thing if this proxy war was preventing an all-out war between these houses.
If it basically caused world peace, like, just because they had proxy wars instead.
Like, if that might be an interesting thing on it, like that, to have that, you know, parallel there.
It almost makes sense because, like, people make much money off of war that getting rid of it would be almost impossible, but they do this instead, people are still making money.
But the guys Snake and Dragon show us later in their flashback that they're running plenty of fucking shit on the side and doing plenty of stuff just out in the open.
Right.
So it's like, I don't understand what the purpose of the Juni Taisen is, other than that it grants it. Oh yeah, also it magically grants a wish to somebody.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are, like anything, or is it like anything you can buy?
I think they mention it's within their power, but I could be misremembering.
Well, and then I'm like, wait, I guess magic exists in this universe because some of these people have crazy fucking abilities.
It's true.
Like, you know, there's a necromancer, there's a fucking
alchemist.
There's an alchemist, there's a person who never has to reload their gun for whatever reason. And some of these abilities are given to them by crazy science. Some of them they seem to just have always had.
There's one that can fly.
Yeah. And then, like, it'd be one thing if we learned, like, hey, what's their wish? What do they want? What's their motivation for winning this tournament? But we almost know none of their motivations. So why am I supposed to care when these guys die?
Yeah.
And I get that they want them to be more caricatures so that, you know, you don't feel too bad when they die. So, because it is a pretty brutal show, but I'm like, yeah, but what do I care? Like,
we still need some kind of character focus.
Dog and Rooster are gonna team up and join their goals together. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, what do they want? Like, do their goals align? Like, do they want similar things? Is that, or do they want opposite things, which makes it more interesting for them to team up? It seems one of them, Monkey, has this grand scheme that never seems to go anywhere.
But they talk about it all the time, but they never actually explain the plan.
No, and it's I don't know, we get a whole backstory with Sheep on, like, he won a previous tournament and got his wish of growing old with his family. And I'm like, I think you could have just retired and done that.
Yeah, except for his grandson was going to get the...
Yeah, because it's also a family thing.
Yeah.
But yet the other families don't, like, they go out of their way to not choose people in their family because Snake and Dragon are completely just two fuck-off thieves. Like, they don't even look like they don't even seem like warriors. And they never explain where Dragon gets his fucking freeze gun.
Yeah, I don't know. He just has a freeze gun.
Yeah.
Captain Cold wasn't using it, so...
I don't know. It's definitely an interesting series that I'm like, don't get me wrong, I do want to finish it because I want to see where some of these obvious, like, there's some sort of plan going on here, and I'm interested to see what some of these characters do. But it's high time. It's episode 8, and I don't know anyone's motivation for why they joined the... Well, I guess I do know some of their motivations, but all those characters are dead now.
Yeah.
Because that's how the ratio works. We get the person's flashback, and they usually die in that or the next episode.
Except for the one we got who was already dead.
Yeah, which, because one of them died before the thing started. Which, and yeah, so I'm like, this should be an interesting setup of all these characters, you know, fighting one another, and it's good that they jumped right to the Tyson. That's the interesting part of the show. We should jump there right away. But these flashbacks, they take up way too much of the episodes. Like, the fights should be way longer. Like, they not, like, the longest fight we saw was like horse and ox, and even that one's not very visually interesting.
No.
They finally start to show actual fight with Rabbit, and I'm like, fuck yeah, finally we start to get a fight. That one gets just started to go, and it just starts to get interesting, and it's also over. And I'm like, god damn it, I just want to see a fight go on with these people that have obviously really fucking cool abilities, and I want to see them fight each other for a while.
To be honest, like, this show is actually just kind of a rip-up of the Fate Stay series anyway.
Yeah.
And that one's better because it actually does have a story and a narrative and characters that you care about.
I mean, they go flashback to Sheep where he won a Junie Tyson on a fucking spaceship.
Yes.
And I was like, holy shit, that seems fucking awesome. Where was that story? I kind of want to... I mean, it's a cool premise that if they go farther with it, maybe they can switch it up or do something cooler in the next seasons or something.
I just feel like this one can't really do a next season because it would just have to keep having characters we don't care about show up.
Well... I mean, maybe they gotta ditch the whole flashback sequence and just focus like, okay, there's 12 people, but there's like 6 people you actually care about. The other 6, we're gonna treat them like the fodder that they actually are, and they might not even get flashbacks because, like, did we need the flashback with Dog? Like, do you remember, like, anything about him?
He was a ninja.
Yeah, and it's like, that was 10 minutes of nothing, because it has nothing to do with the rest of this show. And I get that you're trying to one up like, aha, see, you thought he was going to be important because we did a whole flashback. I'm like, yeah, that only works the first 2 times.
Right, you fooled me once.
But yeah, so not exactly a super successful romp back into anime, but...
Well, I have some other ones we could watch instead. Black Clover is really interesting.
Yeah, I think what else was I watching? We're all caught up on Gotham now.
We are.
Unbelievably, yeah. So there's that.
We really bled through that one.
I cannot believe some of the shit that they're pulling in this new season. Like, it's unbelievable.
It's all tits up now.
Yeah, I mean, in this new season, I don't want to spoil too much, but they actually fucking do Solomon Grundy. Wow, that's so weird.
It's so awesome.
You bleeding swamp water. Yeah, I don't even know how that works. It's gotten to the point where, like, they should just stop being surprised anytime they see people
someone
come back from the dead.
Yeah, just like, no, this is really just par for the course now.
Like, even before they introduced Lazarus Pits, they've already had, like, 3 or 4 other Deus Ex Machinas. But yeah, I really enjoy Riddler and Penguin on that show. Those actors, they are a really fun time to watch on that show. They're real fun. I feel like they're Lee, who is Gordon's girlfriend. I feel like they're kicking her around. They really don't like. We don't really know what to do with her, so we're trying to do a lot of different stuff.
Basically, anyone who dates Jim Gordon has to stay on the show forever, but they don't know what to do with them.
Yeah, I mean, like, And I get you don't want a character to grow stale, but I'm like, there wasn't really anything wrong with her in season 2 when she was, she was a really fun romantic interest. And, she could have just kind of, this is another thing that I don't like about syndicated shows too, is that, well, we got to keep the relationship interesting. So they got to break up, get back together, break up again, get back together. And I'm like, they could just have conflicts and not break up, guys.
Yeah.
Like, and I get, like, maybe on a couple shows, just some of them, like,
I could name 2 shows that actually keep characters together to the whole entire thing.
Usually they start off together too. Like the only ones I can think of that were Zoe and Wash from Firefly.
Scrubs.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, Scrubs.
And Parks and Recs, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and because JD and Turk and Carla hook up in that, like, basically the first episode, right? Mm-hmm. So they do show them hooking up.
Well, it's not the first episode. They play cat and mouse for a little bit, but
doesn't she accept the date on the first episode? Am I remembering that wrong?
I don't think so.
Episode 2?
I'm pretty sure she hangs him around for actually a little while.
I thought they hang him around for that first episode where it was like, I'm totally into you, but then she accepts the date on the very end of the episode.
Could be.
But then they date for a little while, and she kind of fades, kind of strings them along. For season 1, she's, depending on how serious she actually is getting on it, but I thought she agreed to the date on episode 1. I don't know. It's been a long time since I watched Scrubs, which is a great show, by the way.
It is a great show.
Good stuff. But yeah, they don't normally do that whole relationship thing.
No.
Well, we are gonna go into some relationships and some fun stuff as our relationship with some of these trailers that we gotta watch. But before that, we gotta go to Tom. Tom, load up the trailers.
Yo, Tom from Toonami here. You're listening to the UGO podcast, and I hope y'all are ready, because Trailer Talk starts now.
And welcome to Trailer Talk, guys. We are down a man today.
Where is he?
Just, of course, we do not have Justin today, but we do have some trailers to get to. So,
Justin's here or not?
I am excited. Okay, so what is first on the docket for today?
Well, I mean, I can see it if you want me to answer that question.
We got the Spider-Man. Spider-Man. I can't realize they're working on that sequel so fast.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's so good. I love Tom Holland. Mm-hmm. I'm really interested to see what they do with this one.
Super excited.
This one's not. This is Sony Pictures.
Oh,
they got to.
I'm bored now.
It's them damn animations. Them damn nations there. Yeah, this is the new animated film of Spider-Man. Written by Phil Lord and Chris Miller of the Lego Movie and the Lego Batman movie.
Okay.
They're not directing. I think it's directed by 3 guys, I think. But yeah, it's I really like those guys. I think the Lego Movie and Lego Batman are really funny.
Yeah.
So I'm actually really interested in this. So let's give that a watch.
So I see it's called Into the Spiderverse, so we're getting multiple Spider-Men?
I would assume.
Okay.
Otherwise they don't know what a Spiderverse is.
Yeah, true. Are we getting a Spider-Gwen?
I hope so.
We better be, honestly.
Or we already have a spider hoodie here.
Yeah.
I mention how much I like Ultimate Miles Morales' costume.
It's pretty cool. Why'd you break the glass? That's mean.
It's sticky. Sometimes
someone's gotta clean that up. Now a bunch of pain in the ass glasses to clean up.
The guy's costume.
What is that? It's like an interesting animation.
Yeah, I'm really curious about that as well.
Wait, so how many of us are there?
So, yeah, that was the trailer for Spider-Man Into the Spiderverse. So, yeah, the what you said about the animation really strikes me, because the animation, at first I was like, whoa, it's kind of like a neat stop motion almost thing.
Yeah, like cell shaded, but also stop motion.
The frame rate is weird on it, to where it feels kind of like, there's missing frames in it. I thought that was a stylistic choice they were going to, the comic format. Even the point where he's chasing that dude on the motorcycle who is dressed ridiculously, by the way. He wasn't that a fake mohawk or whatever. He looks like Deadpool joined a punk band.
Yeah, it was really weird.
But in neon, in Batman and Robin,
90s.
I really dig Miles Morales. I really like him. I like the Ultimate Spider-Man run. If you don't the Spider-Man run, Peter Parker dies in there, and Miles Morales takes over in the Ultimate Universe. And it's pretty cool. They folded him over into the regular universe now. He's become so popular.
Which is not very uncommon for comic book heroes to become.
Oh, no. I mean, at one level, I kind of like that the frame rate kind of looks like that, but then he opens the mask, and then it looks like...
You see the face, and
the face is like, wait, what?
It's kind of jagged at times.
Well, it's like when... I don't know what I expected, because when the animation style and with the mask on, it looks... fine, but when he opens the face, I almost expected, I guess, a clay puppet or whatever or something, but obviously that was a ridiculous thing. That's not going to be a claymation Spider-Man movie. That would be ridiculous.
Kind of a pain in the ass.
Yeah, it would be an unbelievable pain in the ass to do. I mean, I would love to see it, but I don't think any studio would do it.
Take just hours just to make him swing on one web.
Get Leica Studios on that. I bet you they would do it. To those fuckers. I don't know. I really... I dig the storyline in the comics when they end up doing the Spiderverse thing. They go to all the different dimensions. They get Punk Spider-Man, Cyborg Spider-Man, the Sentai Spider-Man with the giant robot that he had.
That's awesome.
You guys remember that?
I don't.
His Japanese show where he had a giant robot named Leopardon, and he fought Power Ranger style and fought Sentai villains, because that happened.
Nope.
They bring that into the comics, and that's really cool. It's a really fun storyline, and yeah, they do bring Spider-Gwen into it, and yeah, with that line of like, hey, how many of us are there? I'm assuming, I'm not sure if that's him talking to Peter Parker of another Earth, or maybe that's before Peter Parker dies. I'm not sure. Normally, in the Ultimate Universe, he dies before like they ever even
before Miles Morales is even Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I would guess it's probably an Ultimate Universe one. Yeah,
so I'm interested in that. I really hope that the only thing really holding me back is that Sony Pictures again, and their animation studio hasn't really made a lot of hits lately, or at least stuff that I wanted to watch. I mean, what was their latest thing? The Emoji Movie?
Oh god.
Yeah, so that was rough.
That's a thing that exists, which is unfortunate.
So that's the one thing that's holding me back from being super excited. But otherwise, super jazzed for an animated Spider-Man movie. I would love to see, I love to see Miles Morales. I want to see him in the regular universe as well. But if we get him in the animated universe, and if that's his thing, like the animated universe, no, Peter Parker is the live action, the MCU Spider-Man, but in the animated universe, it's Miles Morales. He runs that shit. That could be pretty cool.
Yeah. Since Disney does own Fox now, meaning they can go to different dimensions, just because if they own Fantastic Four already, we could just get Miles Morales in the MCU anyway.
I'm surprised on who we would use as villains, because I only know one Ultimate Spider-Man villain was the Prowler, who was actually Miles Morales' uncle. And that's usually what I associate with him. Otherwise, he usually fights a lot of other Spider-Man type villains.
Right. Maybe just get a Sinister Six that's mixed between different alternate universes?
Yeah, they'd have to bring in the parallel universes somehow. They did a story in one of the Edge of the Spider-Verse where a bunch of the Electros got together and forced a bunch of the different universes Dr. Octopuses to make them a portal jumping machine. And so a bunch of the Spider Corps have to go and take their asses out.
All right.
Which has Captain Britain Spider-Man leading it. It's weird. I'm not gonna lie. It's a strange book, but pretty fun. Spider-Ham is on it too, for you Spider-Ham fans.
Nice.
It was basically like the joke from Simpsons movie, the Spider Pig. They actually did that in the comic. He's Spider-Ham.
Because of course they did.
Yeah, he's Peter Porker. Get it? But yeah, I'm excited. I think I'm excited to see what this movie will do. Spider-Man does whatever a Spider-Ham can.
Not ham in a can though. That's gross.
With that, should we just go to the next one over here?
Yeah, what we got?
We got what's it? We have. No, this is not the right one. Now I don't even know which the next one up here is. Oh yeah. We have the new Ready Player One trailer.
Oh, fun.
So, yeah, you saw the first trailer for this, right?
Yeah, we should watch that.
Yeah, it was, so this is based off of the book, with the sci-fi, I guess 80s theme, really, not just sci-fi specific, but a bunch of pop culture references. and it's directed by Steven Spielberg. This is the first official trailer. I guess the other one was just a teaser. So the other one felt like an actual trailer. I don't know what their distinction between teaser and trailer is anymore.
Ignore that whole argument.
The teaser for the trailer for the
the trailer for the trailer
for the TV spot. But yeah, let's give this one a watch. I'm very curious.
My name's Wade Watts. My dad picked that name because it sounded like a superhero's alter ego, like Peter Parker or Bruce Banner. But he died.
I do love that
when I was a
alliteration.
kid. My mom too.
Not as much as DC loves the number 52.
Sitting here in my tiny corner of nowhere. There's nowhere left to go. Nowhere. Except the Oasis.
Which is different than the Matrix, all right?
Yeah, because you go there on purpose.
A whole virtual universe. People come to the Oasis for all the things they can do.
Wow, we have a character with actually kind of large eyes that doesn't look like a monster.
Because of all the things
It helps when everyone else is a CG creation.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
Can't care.
It's the only place that feels like I mean anything. The Oasis was the brainchild of James Halliday.
Hello. If you're watching this, I'm dead. I created
And you can tell
a
I'm
hidden
very upset
object,
about it.
an Easter egg. The first person to find the egg will inherit $500 billion and total control of the Oasis itself.
Yeah, that's a pretty good start.
Scramble!
Who is this Parzival, and how the hell is he winning?
Find him. This isn't just a game.
Just weird choices for music.
I'm talking about actual life and death stuff.
The Oasis, the world's most important economic.
Well, if you were making a movie, that was basically a love letter to all the stuff you loved from the 80s.
For control
Yeah.
of the future.
Tell him bad guy, because I have a
Welcome to
scar.
Rebellion, Wade.
Like many of you, I only came here to escape.
Okay, Tracer showing up?
Yeah, I saw that one too.
That's weird.
Than just myself. Are you willing to fight?
Help us save the Oasis.
Like, all the other ones are like, yeah, these are like 80s and 90s characters. Just for something coming that came out like, 2 years ago showing up is kind of weird to me.
Yeah. I I don't know. Like for one level, on one level I really like the idea of Ready Player One.
Mm-hmm.
It's very. I'm trying to figure out like what is what it actually is, but
Well, it looks like it's probably someone's like love child of a movie, but it's not like Valerian.
yeah.
Like, it looks like it actually reminds me. There's parts of it that remind me a lot of that movie Valerian. Except I want to watch this one possibly.
So yeah, I love the fact that we can just, it's like the Matrix, like you got to go in a virtual world. Like the thing I liked about the book was that, like, yeah, you'd have a bunch of people running around doing all the cool shit, like riding in the Batmobile, the fucking DeLorean, and like screwing around with all this pop culture references. Like the main thrust of the story is basically rewarding a kid for being pop culture savvy about one particular guy. Because the Oasis is made by this one guy who was very into this 80s. There's like one level in the what do you call it, the game, like where they have to redo war games. They have to just quote war games line by line, and in order to get the Easter egg, in order to inherit like the internet.
Okay.
So yeah, they're gonna have to update that a little bit because I don't know if like how many people remember war games now.
Yeah.
You guys remember Matthew Broderick, babyface Matthew Broderick? But yeah, so I like the idea. I mean, I love a good pop culture reference. I kind of like the idea of hodgepodging everyone together and just like having a massive like fucking fight.
It seems fun, but again, even in this trailer, it seems so frantic, right? You're like, hey, that might have been a character I know, but I can't tell because they're already gone not even half a second later.
So I want to give it up for the trailer. It's hectic, and it's really, fast. There's fast cuts. So I don't want to like knock on it too much, but every time we get a long shot, like say there's that club sequence, I'm going to say that's probably going to be my least favorite sequence in the movie.
Yeah.
I remember it in the book where it is mostly about him and this other character that he's learning with. Like, that's the main focus of it.
Okay.
But, like, it is in this club where everyone's hanging out and everyone gets to change and be, like, whatever character they want to be. We see Harley Quinn and Joker in that shot. And then we see some other characters that I have no idea because the fucking lighting only does their silhouette. And everyone else in the trailer, everyone else is very excited, like, oh, they've been pausing the trailer, like, oh, look who that is.
Right.
That is. And I'm like, I'm not going to pause the movie while I'm watching it in the theater.
Yeah.
And I'm sick of watching these trailers over and over again to try and see what new characters I can see, because every once in a while you'll get a character that is very prominent and stands out because their color scheme is different. Like Tracer stands out a lot in the shot that she's in.
Well, yeah, she's like forefront and she's bright.
Did you even notice Chun-Li was right next to her?
No,
you can't. You almost can't because there's not enough time to. So hopefully that will be set off in the movie because there's just the trailer has to be cut for time. So there's just quick shot. But they linger on that shot with them, all those people floating in the air. That shot means nothing to me.
No.
I don't know who any of those people are. And it's like, well, if you pause here and then, look in, like, you see that person is wearing the headdress, I'm like, fuck off. I don't want to pause and, like, see, like, I maybe this movie will be great on DVD when I can pause it and watch it in slow-mo at my leisure.
To be honest, when I see that scene, I actually expect a clown to show up and go, they all float down here.
Yeah, we see Chucky in the trailer, too, for a half a second. And we see, like, what I assume is either Deadpool or Deathstroke walk past him with the swords and the mask.
Yeah.
And I can't tell because he's in silhouette and, like...
we can't see the color scheme.
I get that they want to hide a lot of some of these other things so that they might get away with more on the copyright scheme, but the main point of and appeal of Ready Player One is to see all these characters interact with one another. So obviously they have the rights to certain characters, like Iron Giant is very prominent. We see a Gundam. That's pretty cool.
We do see that very prominently. We see Kong.
Well, we see Kong, but even he is in the backlit silhouette.
That's true. But I mean, I'm not sure how that would work on copyright because it's pretty obvious what it is. But...
Everything else, they have this weird color scheme of everything is very muted. Like the DeLorean, I can tell is the DeLorean because they focus on it. But there's a lot of other vehicles that I'm like, I think that's the motorcycle from Akira, but like there's the color palette is kind of grayer and everything is muted. Like, when they have that charging sequence of everyone charging at once, I'm like, I see Iron Giant, and I see a Battletoad in the front. And I'm like, that Battletoad draw my attention, because I'm like, really? Battletoad? But, like, really not a Ninja Turtle? I'm sure if they have a Battletoad in there, there's a Ninja Turtle somewhere in the trailer. Like, I would almost assume, like, it would have to be somewhere in there. So yeah, for a movie that, like, is very, like, the plot is very thin, like, it's very much, like, this kid is very...
It's literally an Easter egg hunt. They say it in the trailer.
Yeah, it's basically, like, a giant metaphor for, like, screw you, Dad, reading all these comic books and watching all these movies did amount to something. It did achieve something in my life. Which is fine. I really like the book because I'm a sucker for a good, like...
Pop culture.
Yeah. At one point, he goes and fucks up some people in an Imperial starship with this ship from Firefly in the book. And I'm kind of like, yeah, that sounds awesome. That sounds like something I would do if there was this virtual reality and you could do anything.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, I'm concerned that, like, hey, if we're going to do this whole, like, look at this, look at this, look at this.
Better be able to see it.
I want to see them. Like, it seems like a very important element of a look and see type film. But yeah, otherwise, I don't think there was too much other that I complain about. I just hope that is not so prevalent in the film. Like I said, mostly it's in that club sequence. Like, that's where it's the worst, where it's just like, yeah, you might as well just have these random people in the background because I cannot tell who they are.
And this isn't really that much different than the teaser trailer to begin with.
Yeah. Well, again, like, they can only, like, there's not... They show a little bit, like, him rallying people at the very end, which he sort of does in the book, but it's kind of like, I don't know. I'm very tepidly awaiting this film. I don't want to get my hopes up too much because...
It looks like it's going to be a fun romp, and that's what I'm expecting from it.
Well, anyway, should we move on to our next one?
Sure, what's up next?
Our next trailer is Batman.
Okay, so we went from Spider-Man to pop culture references to Batman.
Yeah, I feel like that's it's pretty well rounded there.
Is there a theme Star Wars for tonight?
There's no Star Wars trailer. How dare they not make a Star Wars trailer?
Well, I mean, they could be something space themed. I don't know.
But yeah, we got the new Ninja, Batman Ninja movie.
That's awesome.
So, that's the anime version of Batman. If you've not noticed, this is from the same people who made Afro Samurai. If you remember that, show with Sam Jackson as, not only the lead character, but his funny little sidekick. I enjoyed it. It was a fun, little series. I thought it was worth the watch. So I'm excited to see what this new trailer has in store for their version of Batman. So, without further ado, let's give that one a watch.
I feel like this Batman's gonna kill people. That was kind of cool. Like, I don't see how a ninja Batman wouldn't be killing people, but I could be wrong. It's even subtitled.
Of course. You gotta keep it authentic.
Keep on brand.
From the creators of Japan?
Yeah,
what?
They actually created Japan. You didn't know this? Okay. Okay, I'm kind of loving this. This makes no sense. Okay, Deathstroke showing up is kind of cool.
And Gorilla Grodd out of nowhere.
Okay.
Well, that was very interesting.
One last scene.
One more.
The hell? What was that? Okay.
Such a great ending quota that even these trailers have. Okay, so that was Batman Ninja.
That was someone's fan fiction is what that was.
Weird. I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of into it.
It's interesting.
I'll tell you what, one thing that's weird though is like it's Batman Ninja, but like through
He's
a lot of
samurai.
it, he's a like samurai garb on, so that's weird. I mean,
Also
maybe
looks really old.
I mean, maybe Batman Samurai doesn't roll off the tongue as much.
Samurai.
Samurai? Bat Samurai?
Samurat.
Sambat. Joker is pretty scary as this like the feudal lord looking dude. I think the story is from what I read here is that Joker goes back in time somehow.
Okay.
To like destroy the world or something, or maybe take over the world. I don't know. But somehow they end up in feudal Japan. So whatever.
Kind of looks like Joker's design. This kind of looks like a fusion of Final Fantasy VI's villain Kefka with Junkrat, which is weird.
So one of the things that's really working for me here is I like the idea of the Bat family as a ninja clan.
Mm-hmm.
That makes a lot of sense.
It makes more sense than the actual show, to be honest.
Like a lot of sense to me, honestly. I'm digging the fact that we get like at least there's two Robins in there.
Mm-hmm. We had Nightwing and Robin.
And I think there was even like two versions of Robin. I think there might be even Red Robin. And then we see Slade with some guns there. Deathstroke, and I think he's firing at what their version of Red Hood might be?
Possibly.
He's got that, like, what do you call that, like, bamboo headed thing, like, that, like, goes over your entire head. Or, like, that straw, like, it's a straw hat, but, like, it goes over your entire head. I don't know, like, Afro Samurai wore that in the second season as well for a little bit, which was weird, like, it hit his afro.
We just see, Harley Quinn and Catwoman.
Sure. Gotta have a cat fight in there somehow.
Of course.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I like Catwoman's design too. We see Two-Face, like, take off, like, a half mask of, like, a samurai mask, but it's, like, Two-Face, so that's cool. Like, I like that. That's design-wise, that's pretty neat.
Gorilla Grodd's really random.
Gorilla Grodd seems out of nowhere to me.
Aaron.
I'm just like, wait a minute, you're not even like, you're like a Flash villain. Like, what are you doing here? Like, that's odd. Like, that's an odd choice. Like, don't get me wrong, like, he's in the same universe or whatever, but like, not a Killer Croc or, maybe even some of the other.
I guess we don't actually know that's Gorilla Grodd, because there are multiple gorilla villains in the DC universe, correct?
Yeah, normally they play up Gorilla Grodd the most, though. I can't imagine he's Ultra Humanite. He doesn't really look like that.
Maybe it's Mr. Mala.
They'd have to have the brain.
Yeah, that'd be kind of interesting.
But then they'd show the brain, not Mr. Mala. Because Mr. Mala, and then like a French samurai? What? Because the brain and Mr. Mala, they're like these French supervillains. They really play like Mr. Mala usually wears a beret.
That's true.
No, it's Grodd. Like we can speculate, but
throw in speculation.
They only ever use Grodd in anything that's not like they rarely ever use any of the other apes, even in the other animated stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was an interesting choice. The weird thing about the design thing is that it does remind me of Afro Samurai, but Afro Samurai was 2D animated. This is like a 3D look. Mm-hmm. And we watched that one movie recently with that anime based off of the 3D animation, and that was jarring as shit. Whatever movie it was based off of that manga series. I don't know. The one where they turned to stone.
Oh, yeah. The Prince of Thorns
Yeah. And that one was like when they switched over to the 3D animation, I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, it does look a little off-putting at times.
This definitely looks better than that, but it's still like 3D. The 3D animation is like throwing me a little bit. Like I'm like, I think this is okay, but I think it would be really cool in a traditional 2D, like this Afro Samurai style animation, which always looked really, really fucking cool.
Hyper stylized, so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's like splitting the difference here a little bit. Mm-hmm. So I'm not sure if I'm super crazy about that, but the character designs all pretty neat.
They put effort into them. You gotta give them that.
They look. It kind of feels like it's inspired off of an alternate toy line, where it's the Feudal Japan series of Batman toys.
Right.
But yeah, I could see this being like a Batman the Animated Series episode where he travels to Feudal Japan and and just like, and Ra's al Ghul is just always there for Vandal Savage.
Yeah, Vandal Savage. That's
or just one of these other ones.
He's like, hey, I'm
here. The fuck you doing here?
I've been here. What are you doing here? Is the better question.
Plus, who are you? Why are you dressed as a bat? Oh shit, yeah, that's right. Damn, time travel.
Time travel and mortals don't mix together.
I'm very excited to see the fighting in this. I'm not sure what grand story they might tell, because I think
I don't really care.
This is one movie, I'm correct. So one movie fitting all these characters in. I'm assuming we're just getting a bunch of fights. Mm-hmm. Like that's probably what this movie is going to be.
And I'm okay with that.
Just fight. Which is cool, as long as the fights are well choreographed, which with the couple sequences we've seen here, we get just quick snippets. Mm-hmm. But from what I've seen, I really like the Deathstroke flip. The gun flip was nice. That was smooth, and he gets that shot in at the Red Hood, who's running Naruto style, which apparently is just how you run faster.
It's Moira style now.
Which is
she owned it now.
Oh, okay, so it's that's just how you run in Japan, I think. To run faster. I love I'm excited. Hopefully we haven't seen everybody. I kind of want to see some of the other.
Did we see Penguin in the trailer at all?
No Penguin. Well, at least not what I saw. Yeah. He could have been in a quick cut, but I'd figure like I'd see him.
Because come on, you didn't have to have a Penguin in this.
Everyone else was very visually distinctive. I kind of knew who everybody else was. So yeah, I'm at least intrigued. Like at least it's definitely very visually interesting. Mm-hmm. So we'll see how that turns out.
Penguin and Mr. Freeze would be interesting to do in this.
With that, I think we can bring this trailer talk to an end. We'll wrap it up here. We'll go right into our Star Wars talk right after this.
Hello from the dark side.
Alright, welcome to the Star Wars talk, guys. Heads up, we are going to be talking about the film and the general plot structure. It will be a spoiler-free review for the first segment of it. We will do a musical break before the spoiler section. But if you don't want to go into anything, see any details at all, I would highly recommend again. Just
You're
like
probably not on the internet then.
just probably like the previous movie. You might want to just skip this and go right to see it and then come back. Otherwise, you have been warned. So, let's just get right into it.
Let's do it.
Star Wars Episode 8. So, this one starts off with, I guess there was kind of a question how bad things were after the end of Force Awakens. Because the First Order launched their attack on the New Republic.
Right.
But we didn't really have a sense of, like, they blew up a lot of planets. And I'm like, I'm not sure how much of the New Republic that was. But they opened this one up going like, no,
that was it.
First Order is basically now in charge now. They are probably as powerful as the Empire was back when they ruled shit. So this one starts off as it's actually a big chase movie because
slowest chase movie ever.
Well, they're on the rebels' the Resistance, and they're trying to evacuate in order to get out of the First Order's way. And the whole movie basically is following this evacuation and subsequent chase in order to get away from the First Order because they've developed a way to track them. So they need to, find a way out of this tracking film. That's the main thrust of Poe, Finn, General Leia, a new character whose name I can't remember. Rose, that's right. They throw some Benicio del Toro shows up in that plotline as well. So there's some shenanigans going on there. Meanwhile, Rey is over hanging with Luke. Luke is not really crazy about the whole Jedi thing anymore. Wants to burn that shit to the ground. Is like, no, the Jedi need to end. Fuck that. I don't want to train you. And she's got to convince him to basically help her out and help save the Resistance.
The opening scene is just pretty great too, because like she's sitting there, she's handing the lightsaber, he kind of looks at it.
Oh my god! He's like, hey, can I see that lightsaber for a second? just
tosses,
flips that shit. I laughed in the theater. I was like, oh my god, that's hilarious.
This movie actually has a surprising amount of levity that the Star Wars movies don't usually have.
I would actually disagree.
Yeah?
Yeah, this movie is actually, for me, it's actually one of the more serious movies rather than Rogue One. It definitely it has that in common with Empire, where shit has gotten really wrong.
Oh, definitely.
There's only there's a couple comedic moments, but Luke is funny in a different way than the rest of the movie is, where he's dryly, sarcastically humorous. Sassy Luke is my new favorite Luke.
He's pretty good.
The rest of the movie, there's jokes in it between, but there's a real sense of like, shit is not going our way, guys. Like, there's some tension going on. The point where I feel like it's anachronistic is the casino plotline.
Yes. Where
we go to the casino, and suddenly there's a lot of levity there, and it feels kind of like a vacation from the plot. And I get what they're doing, and on some level I get it, because it's talking about a class system in Star Wars that we almost never see. Because during the main movies, we only ever see the First Order or the Empire and the Rebels and the Resistance. We only see the war.
Right.
We don't see anyone that's not involved in the war. And that was what was cool about Force Awakens. We got to see Jakku and some of these people that just aren't involved.
Right.
And yeah, some of these, we meet Benicio del Toro's character, and we get to see them like, hey, you guys are fucking off of your weapons traders. You sell weapons to the Empire. It's like, well, no, we sell weapons to everybody. We sell weapons to you guys too. And it's you get the sense of like, this is the way that they survive these, what seems like an eternal conflict in this galaxy, is that, look, as long as we sell arms to both sides so that you can keep fucking killing each other, you guys leave us alone because you need our weapons.
Right, you don't have time to kill other people. You're too busy killing each other.
And you almost kind of get it from that perspective. They don't go into it a whole lot, but I actually kind of get it of like, look, you guys are always fucking fighting. It feels like a never-ending cycle with you guys.
Yeah.
And we just want to be around after, like, we don't want to pick sides, because even when you guys win, you see, it seems like you guys no one ever wins completely in the Star Wars universe. The other side always comes back. It's that balance thing. It's that balance of the Force. It also works in their political system too.
Right.
And yeah, so the opening of this film opens on a really fucking cool space fight.
Yeah.
It's awesome, guys.
Pretty epic.
It is. the opening dogfight in this is some of the best fucking dogfighting. People are getting mowed down like it's nothing. Like, you see some of these guys, the victories, the little small victories they have to win, and the sacrifices they have to make to get those victories. It is hard pressed. They give Poe an arc in this movie of like him being kind of like this reckless fighter. He's our new Han, sort of. And they have him pull some shit in this movie where it's kind of like, dude, you're
not really being the good guy here.
You kind of fucked, like, they make it from like, people make mistakes, sure. Like, that's a thing that happens. He pulls some shit in this movie. I'm like, dude, you really fucked up. And your fuck up really led to a lot of people getting killed.
Oh, yeah.
And that was one of the things that I liked about it, and yet didn't, because they handled it weird at the end. Like, there's a whole line of where, oh man, I like that guy, he's got spunk. And I'm like, it's after a point where I'm like, after the thing he just did, I don't think that should be your line of dialogue.
He should probably be leaving in chains, to be honest.
There should be a brig on the, they even mentioned a brig at one point, and I'm like, yeah, I like you, Poe. I think you're a fun guy, but I don't think that you're a fit for the Rebel Alliance here. I think I just don't see it working out. I'm gonna need your end of the day, like your 2 weeks notice or something. Like, this is
that's if he's not being court-martialed.
Yeah. Finn wakes up during this attack too, and I love that he wakes up and his first thought is, hey, where's Rey? Hey, where's Rey? And I'm like, God damn, dude, really? Like, there's a lot of stuff going on, and his immediate thought is, I need to fuck off and escape so that Rey doesn't come here and get killed too.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of like, whoa, really? Your first priority isn't to, I don't know, save everyone else on this fucking ship? But he was shown that was his character in the first movie, where his first priority was to just get out of this conflict.
Right.
He kind of accidentally became a rebel hero.
Kind of like Han.
Yeah. And unlike Han, he kind of, by the end of this movie, kind of accepts his role as kind of like one of these heroes. He gets a moment to step up, which is pretty cool. I actually like it. Otherwise, him and Rose go off on the casino mission, and it's weird because the only reason they're on the casino mission is because of some technobabble, because they need to, in order to get away from the First Order, they need this technology to help them get away, but they need to be on one of the ships, one of the Imperial ships to do it. In order to get on one of the Rebel ships, they need a decoder thing or someone to decode it, so that's why they go to the casino. There's a lot of steps that feel unnecessary.
Right.
To the point where I'm like, I'm like, this casino arc seems unnecessary, but I want to see Benicio del Toro because he's a fun new character to add, and he's doing a lot of interesting things with his acting in it.
It is interesting, yeah.
And I'm like, oh wait, we don't have to sacrifice Benicio del Toro. We just have to excise that whole meeting him on the casino thing. Just go to another planet, meet him in 5 minutes, and bring him back. There's not a whole lot necessary in that casino arc. And the only reason I bring it up, because it's not like it's awful or anything. The only reason I bring it up is that this movie is 2.5 hours long.
Right.
And
it doesn't need to be.
Nope. Don't get me wrong, it is not painful to sit through. There's fun moments in it as well, but it does feel like you're watching the actual movie, and then every once in a while you take a vacation with what Finn and Rose are doing. And then it's like, meanwhile, back in the actual plot, like, there's other stuff happening.
Well, I mean, they even bring it up where it's like, we don't know what to do. Let's ask Maz. And they bring up Maz on the, communicator. She's like, this is the way you have to do it. I'm like, are you sure that's the only way? Yep, that's the only way. I'm like, are you sure, though?
It feels like, yeah, there's only one person in the galaxy that can help you out with this. And it turns out, no, that's not true. So I don't know. I'm interested in what they're going to do with Maz's character later if they want to keep bringing her back, because they bring her up on a phone call. She literally phones in her performance in this fucking movie. Like with how the audio was on it, I'm like, wow, she could have really called this in over the phone.
Yeah.
She might not even have to come into the fucking studio for this. Because she's played by Lupita Nyong'o, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And Rey and Luke have a fun chemistry where Luke is just had enough of the whole Jedi Order and being like, what I like about Luke in this movie, that he brings up what me and Kyle usually have brought up a lot when we talk about Star Wars, is that the Jedi are basically
kind of
awful.
Incompetent. Yeah,
and it really drives home that the Jedi create their own enemies and their own downfall every time. And Luke's whole thing is just like, look, the cycle's got to stop at some point. Like, and it's like, say I help you destroy the First Order and I restore the Jedi. All we're gonna do is create another fucking villain down the road. We gotta stop messing with this Force shit.
Yep.
Like, there's no end to it. And yeah, I kind of really like that. And to the point where, like later they just go like, yep, just, you know, that whole Jedi text thing and our whole religion, just fuck all that. Like, just fuck it all and we'll create something new, basically.
Because Luke is staying on a planet that is, like, holds the last bastion of Jedi text.
Yeah. And I like it because there's a whole meta-narrative in here, too, of, like, with Kylo Ren and what Rey are doing, in which, like, Kylo Ren's whole thing is, like, kill your past. And there's a whole meta-narrative of, like, fuck the old movies. That way of doing things is not working anymore. This is where we are. This is the new stuff. We got to do something new. And they do some new stuff in this movie. There are definitely callbacks to Empire, Jedi, and even some New Hope in there.
A little bit.
I mean, it's mixed up enough. It's like a remix where you're still on your toes. There's still some stuff in there that, like, wow, I really did not see that coming.
The movie has a lot of tense moments in it.
Yeah, there's an interesting thing with Rey and Kylo Ren where they bring in the element of force bonding, which is something that was only previously done in the extended canon. Specifically, I remember it in Knights of the Old Republic. Yes. And that's definitely I'm surprised they have not done that in some of the other, like, the Clone Wars stuff as well, too, is that, well, maybe they did do it in, actually, the new show, the Rebels, I think.
Okay.
Between Ezra and Darth Maul a little bit.
Oh.
Yeah, because that's an interesting thing to keep two characters connected and, like, talking with one another. Like, they're talking across the galaxy with one another, trying to, like, and it's interesting because at first Rey is just like, fuck you for killing Han, you piece of shit. And Kylo Ren is kind of like trying to describe to her, like, hey, things aren't as black as white as you thought it was. I was hanging, I tried to do the Jedi thing, and that shit didn't work out like I thought it was gonna to either. And it was interesting to see two versions of the same story of what he describes as happening and what Luke first describes as happening. And it's the truth meets somewhere in the middle, and it's definitely a very interesting thing there. I think Kylo Ren has become a more interesting character in this movie.
He's still kind of a whiny bitch, but...
Well, I actually kind of like him being this whiny bitch, because that's what I feel makes him kind of different. And I love that his temper tantrums and how people react to his temper tantrums.
Yeah.
I don't understand why General Hux is almost like is still in this movie by the end of it.
Yeah.
Like, he feels weird because he feels like, I don't know, like so stereotypically evil.
Well, he's like the old Imperials, and it's just like, wait, if we're getting rid of like all the old stuff from the old movies, why do we still have this imperialistic dude hanging around like this?
Well, the movie starts with Poe making fun of his ass.
Yes.
And it's just like, but at that point, because you've ridiculed him, I don't really take him seriously much anymore. And Kylo Ren treats him like he's a bitch, and Kylo Ren himself is kind of a bitch.
Yeah.
So you're a bitch's bitch.
It's pretty pathetic, actually.
You're bitch squared. So I don't understand, like, yeah, he should be fucking gone, because he doesn't add any tension to any scene. He's not like, what's his name, that they added in CG Rise and Rogue One, where at least he has
Harkin?
some... Yeah, Harkin. Yeah, he has a stage, a presence. Like, there's nothing but sniveling, conniving, evil schemery going on.
What they should do is just get rid of him and use Phasma.
Yeah, Phasma does show up in this movie again. So if you're looking forward to seeing Phasma again, yes, she finally shows back up and she gets to do stuff. So that's cool. It's pretty close to the end, so I don't expect a lot of her. But she gets some lines, she gets an action scene. It's pretty fun. I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, what else? Like, there's a lot of stuff that I'm trying to tap dance around the spoiler stuff. Because there's a lot of stuff that I could talk about to you and explain to you, like, wow, I can't believe that they did this in a Star Wars movie. But it's all third act stuff that...
And fourth act.
So, yeah, let's talk about the ending a little bit. So, this one is kind of like The Dark Knight for me, in which The Dark Knight kind of has a fourth act. This movie definitely has a fourth act. Where the movie, third act, straight up ends like it's over. And then it feels like the movie starts up again.
Yeah.
And I would say that there's a point against the movie because it fucks with the pacing, which it does, but... so much cool shit happens in that fourth act.
I'd much rather them get rid of the second act with the whole casino thing than the fourth act.
Just ditch the casino thing and then throw this in maybe earlier or something. I don't know. Because there's definitely a point where like the conflict, like, it's like over, and then suddenly we get this whole, this secondary, these other assaults that we're doing.
Third act twist, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's such like, man, all the fucking awesome stuff happens in this part of the movie that I'm like, no, definitely don't excise this, because a lot of just awesome, cool shit happens. Like a lot of fuck yeah moments happen all in that fourth act. So,
like so many Deus Ex Machinas happen, like in these couple last scenes.
Yeah. So General Leia is also being pretty cool here. She gets a chance to be very, in charge. And that's fun. We get a new character that's kind of a sub-admiral to Leia. I don't remember her name.
Holden or something like that?
Yeah. She's in conflict with Poe because Poe's this hothead, and it does... There's a moment where I am mostly on like the side of, man, Poe, you should have really either thought this through more or let some of the higher-ups know exactly what your plan was. Because by the time he lets them know what the plan is, it's way too late to do anything about it. Which is his plan to begin with, is just like, look, I'm trying to save the whole Rebel Alliance. And it fucks up with her strategy, which she does not reveal to him until later.
Right. And it is kind of annoying because he even asks, like, you have to tell us what's going on. And she doesn't, and I'm like, well...
It's one of those things where it happens a lot in other sci-fi books that I read, where a character will keep information from another character for seemingly no reason. Because it's the only thing that makes that character do something really stupid in the plot. And it does get... By the time it does get revealed at the end, what she was keeping up her sleeve, it's like, yeah, there's no reason you couldn't have told everyone on the ship that.
Yeah.
It actually makes... When you think about it, it makes less sense that she didn't tell everybody what the thing was.
It's basically just to make it so we can get to the fourth act. I'm like, this has been a stretch, guys.
Don't get me wrong; it doesn't vindicate Poe and what he did.
No, they're both kind of at fault.
He takes it to 11 to fucking crazy town of like, no, I get that you're nervous and everything, but there's limits, dude. But yeah, I really enjoyed this movie overall. I know I've been talking about structure and pacing and stuff.
Well, it's because we can't talk about the stuff we liked because it was awesome and spoilerish.
Man, there's this one cool thing that I can't tell you about.
Oh my god,
followed
so fucking cool.
By another cool thing that I can't tell you about. Like, so, I love how they treat some of their older characters. Leia and Luke have a moment in this one that is genuinely fucking touching. That is really cool. Like, it really feels like these two characters have met after a long time, and it's like, hey guy, like, I like what you've done with your hair, sort of thing. It's just, it's cool. And then I love that there's a moment with Luke where he's like, wait, Chewie, what the fuck are you doing here? Like, wait, you come here on the Falcon? And he looks and he's like, where's Han?
Yeah, and you know it's done. You know he knows exactly what happened.
Yeah, and it's like, oh goddamn, dude. It's really sad. Mark Hamill delivers a great fucking performance as an older, jaded version of Luke Skywalker. That is a really cool, arc to his character that we never really got to see in the original trilogy, of him coming full circle to being this, he was this youthful, I want to, join the Rebel Alliance and be a hero.
So gung-ho.
and then he realized what being a hero meant for him. Like it's like in my hubris, I made the greatest mistake of my life, and it comes across in his acting. And there's a lot of stuff that there's a lot of characters looking at other characters in this movie that's actually pretty compelling, because there's a lot of just like complex emotions that they are just portraying off their face.
It's
like,
true. They do. All the actors do a really good job in this show.
Kylo Ren and Rey share just some looks at each other a lot. Like they look at each other a lot in this movie, and there's a lot of underlying communication of like redemption versus temptation that is going on between those two characters. That is played with, you know, like little dialogue, just with their how they are acting towards one another.
Definitely.
That is like, to me, like just very impressive. Like I was shocked at how subtle some of that stuff was being played. And I don't normally associate Star Wars with subtlety.
No, this is definitely a different movie than the previous ones. Like any of them, really. It
feels very different.
It does.
Just from, despite them repeating some, you know, moments and callbacks to some of the other movies, spiritually, it feels very different. They're trying to say something different in this movie, about, you know, destiny and balance and like what the Force actually is.
Right.
And they don't really care if you're queenie about the Jedi being you know, the good guys and, you know, it being cut and dry. They pretty much, you know, straight up go like, you know, the Jedi had some good ideas, but ultimately they kept fucking themselves.
Well, Luke brings up a good point. Like, yeah, look, in all their hubris at their highest point, they let Palpatine gain power. Like, what fucking use are they?
When they were at their most powerful, when they blinded themselves to the possibility of just what one person, despite how powerful he was, brought down their entire order. And yeah, and he's got a lot of fear of like that happening again. There's a little bit of a thing with like her training. You know, it takes over such a short period of time. Her training and stuff, like I don't know. They could do more with it in the third movie, I guess. Like the time skip of like, okay, in between she learned some shit.
Yeah, well, they even do show that she didn't really gain much from this training, because even the fight scenes she sees in later, she's still kind of raw power, brute force type of deal.
Yeah, and it tries to explain to her like she is more complex. Like she is very afraid of her own power, sort of thing going on, where like she's lost with Luke is like, why are you here? I'm here to save the resistance. I was like, no, that's why you came, but
that's why you're sent. Yeah.
Why are you here? And it's her, she wants to know who she is, and she has this thing woken up inside her, this power, and she doesn't know what to do with it. And it shows how easy it is for her to like get tempted to the dark side, because the dark side is like, hey, I got some answers for you.
Yep.
Like I can let you know. And I don't know, it's a very interesting dynamic they have, and it shows how unbalanced Kylo Ren is. How he also, in a very different way, doesn't know who he is. And it's about both of these characters trying to figure out who they are in this grand new world, and basically them both realizing that they don't fit in the old world.
Well, I mean, Luke even proves the Jedi's hubris on his own actions by it's like, Rey came here searching for answers. He doesn't give them to her, and then he yells at her for going, like, looking into the dark side. And I'm like, well, yeah, that's exactly what the Jedi did. They discipline and, cut down anyone who is looking further out than they should have, according to the Jedi.
Well, what I really like about this movie is that the ultimate climax, it's an ethos between two different ideologies, in which one is kill your past and be your own person, and the other one, while similar, is much more learn from your past
and move forward
and be a different person. And it's a ideology struggle that's totally different from any of the other Star Wars movies, because the other Star Wars movie is just good guys, bad guys.
Yep.
That's it. And this one is about both these two people shrugging off their old, ways of thinking about things. What the previous generation has done is like, fuck that, I'm gonna do my own thing, but on different ends of the spectrum.
Well, both these characters, both Kylo and Rey, could have been evil or good.
Yeah, it really was a toss-up. It shows them that like they are very similar except for just one or two different decisions that they make. And they, it's just very fascinating. I really like having a philosophical discussion about Star Wars that normally I normally don't really have that much. I mean, you some of the TV shows in the extended canon go into it a little bit more, but as straight as for the movies, this one really is trying to like go for something thematically that I'm interested in.
You can even say that, if anyone ever does actually learn from the past, which is something that apparently no one in Star Wars knows how to do, they would actually get further on, they actually might break the cycle.
Well, it reminds me of fucking Game of Thrones, where Daenerys in that, like, I think it was the 5th season or something, was just like, first, Stark's on top, then Lannisters, then, one after the other, and then it just all is this wheel that just breaks the galaxy. And it's just, and just, crushing everything that it goes under. And she's like, I don't want to stop the wheel. I want to break the wheel. I want to completely change how we do stuff. And I kind of like that. That's Luke's swan song of his ethos of just like, you came to me to learn how to like, to help me help you defeat this new enemy. And I can't, because my old way of doing stuff doesn't work. The old is out. I can't help you. You have to do it, because I don't have the skill. Despite me knowing it's not the right way, that's the mindset that I'm in. I can't break it. You have to do it in your own way.
Right.
And it's a powerful message that they've really tapped into. Very simple, but they hit it in a way that resonates very well.
Well, it probably wouldn't be as powerful as the fact that we've seen this how many times, whereas the Star Wars, any part of the universe, is a cycle where it's just cyclical. Everybody's killing each other, and then they bring back up and they start killing each other again.
Yeah, I mean, even in the no matter how far we go back thousands of years to the Knights of the Old Republic, the Sith are fucking up the Jedi again, and it's just it's this constant thing.
Well, even in that one, the Jedi create their own Sith, and it's so cyclical. Something has to break.
So yeah, it's very interesting to see it. I'm very curious about movie number 3 because they have to like hit this with a I mean, well, I guess they don't have to. They could just fuck it up and not address it again. But with what they bring up in this movie, they almost have to like bring up a new solution.
Right.
Like, so I'm very intrigued as to what that is. Like, what do you do after like you change up the Star Wars universe and how everything works in it? I'm very interested in that.
I mean, it's basically, now this next movie is, instead of being Return of the Jedi-esque, it's almost like A New Hope again. Because it'd be like, okay, we have someone fresh. We have a new start.
I'm trying to think of this movie of which I prefer more, Force Awakens or this movie. And I'm pretty sure I'm leaning heavier towards this movie because of just, I know Force Awakens is actually structurally tighter. It's definitely like has problems with its third act.
Well, the reason that it's structurally tighter is because it's copying another movie.
Yeah, but like it does not have the pacing issues that this movie has.
Right.
But this movie is like so radically changing up the game and making bold new choices that for the most part are totally working for it. And it's hard to not respect it on kind of like this ballsy level. So I'm leaning towards like this being my preferred movie, even though it might not technically be a better movie.
I would completely agree, because while, A Force Awakens is a great movie, and it was watching it when it came out was so fun. It's like, holy crap, this is a Star Wars movie.
Well, what I realized what they were doing is that the reason it's so similar to those structures is that it has to get us back on track. So it gets us recontextualized and gets us anyone who has not, wasn't connected with the previous trilogy, gets them up to speed of the status quo of like, this is how these stories normally work. That way, when we get to this movie and they blow that status quo all the fuck up, you feel like, whoa, what the fuck? Like, there's a moment in this movie where I was looking around people in the audience at this one particular moment. I'm not sure if I won't spoil it, but everyone in the theater was like, oh, they can do that? Like, what? Like,
the thing that Holder did?
So like, it's
a scene where the movie goes silent. And the audience was also silent. Like, no one said a thing.
It's like, what the fuck is, like, I can't believe what's happening right now. Like, worth the price of admission for, like, that moment right there. I was just like, oh my god.
And that's why I think I do prefer this movie over even A Force Awakens, is that, yes, it is structurally has problems. I'm not sure if it was the theater or the movie itself that there's some lighting issues that it's hard to see.
I think we had
times.
a dim bulb in the projection screen because
we've
some
been having that a lot lately.
Those night scenes are like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I can't see what's going on. But this one did so many things where I was just like, it shocked me that Star Wars did this.
Mm-hmm.
That was just like, holy crap! I was honestly tense through a lot of these scenes.
Yeah, and it actually makes me like even Force Awakens a little bit more because it's totally setting up the dominoes so that we can knock them over in this glorious fucking fashion. I'm trying to think of anything else without going too much to the spoiler section, but sorry guys, I'm pretty much done. I mean, we'll hit up the spoiler section pretty quick so that we can go into just some of the end stuff here because I do want to talk about it. Anything else you want to mention before we go into straight up ratings?
What was with all the weird animals?
Well, see, I was thinking about that, and I'm like, okay, well, on one level, these Pog thingies, they're not the new Ewoks, because they don't, like, come in the third act and just save everybody. They're more, like, annoying creatures that just end up living on the Falcon for whatever reason. And they don't really have a structural purpose other than to be creatures in the universe, so that it kind of like, I guess it feels more like, hey, there's creatures on this island that Luke is on, so that's neat.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you can buy them now, so they're toys.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't really factor into the plot a lot.
Well, not even just that one, but like the giant walrus cow creature that Luke gets milk from.
Wow, that was weird. Yeah, I totally forgot.
Yeah, what was with that scene? Why was that necessary?
That was so weird. Like, because it's supposed, yeah, I know, it's supposed to be a tit or whatever that he's milking from.
It did not look like that.
But it did not look, because he's up and he's sitting and it's like at crotch level and Luke is like slurping it up.
He's milking some creature's testicles is what
and
he was
then it
doing.
Makes this weird head shake and I'm like, what the fuck is happening?
Like, you know it's awkward. We both know it's awkward.
And it reminds me of the Star Wars holiday special where Grandpa Wookiee might be masturbating to that fucking, virtual reality thing, and it's weird, and I don't want to be reminded of that, but it's like a blink and a miss it scene. Like, I didn't know, like, what was up with that. It looked like one of Zoidberg's cousins or something. Yeah. I was just like, oh, if you wanted that, buy me dinner first of all, whatever. So yeah, this one, I think I'll end up giving it, I think I'll give it, I'm going to give it the same probably rating I think I gave Star Wars The Force Awakens, even though I think it is my preferred film. I still have problems with how the thing is paced. And what sucks about it is that I'm like, man, I could easily cut 15 to 20 minutes off of this movie.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like we'd lose a whole lot other than the class thing between the...
Well, they also were building up Rose as a character, but I'm like...
Yeah, it would cut a lot of Rose's character development, which would suck because I know we were trying to build up a new character. I don't know, maybe I wouldn't. But anyway, I'm going to give it 4 roasted Pog monsters out of 5. Like, what were they called?
I don't know what they were called.
4 watching one of your relatives being eaten by a Wookiee out of 5. Because that's so dark. How about you, buddy?
Yeah, no, I don't remember what I gave Force Awakens, but I feel like these movies they're probably on the same level, but for different reasons. Whereas this one does have, like, there's a few things where I'm just like, why was this in the movie? Like, I feel like it just should not have been. It could have easily been cut out and saved us a little bit more time. But any structural problems with it, they definitely make up with these just amazing scenes that they're not even all action scenes, which I think is probably the best benefit of this movie. Like, there are just some scenes where I'm like, holy crap, that's a new thing that's happening. That's so awesome. It makes me actually really excited for the 9th movie. It's, it's setting up so many cool things for the next one that I honestly cannot wait. I'm giving this one an 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10. Very, very good. Okay, so we're going to take a small musical break, and we'll be back with the spoiler section. But if you don't want to, wait for that, you want to go see the movies yourself, completely understand that impulse. Definitely want to do that. If you would like to get in contact with us, form a force bond with us, you can do so at unapologistgeekout@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter at UGO Podcast. Check some of our back catalog on iTunes. Some of our other movie reviews we got on there, some of our other shows, our Netflix and Kills. If you want to do some, we have a lot of great guests on there. If you want to give us a 5-star review, help out the podcast. It's a great free way to do it. Doesn't cost you a damn thing other than, your time, and whatever dignity you might have if you write something really dirty into the review section. But I think that's worth it. With that, we're going to take a small musical break, and we'll be back right after this.
Hey, what has 2 thumbs and stopped the dark side? When you were waddling yay high, this guy. When Solo froze cold, who stopped the rancor down below? You're looking at him, yo? Oh, also I met Obi-Wan Kenobi. Plus turns out I'm Darth Vader's son. Brought the Empire to its knees. You're welcome, just don't mention the Ewoks, please. So what can I say except you're welcome for that Death Star I blew from the sky. Hey, it's okay, you're welcome. I'm just an ordinary Jedi.
And welcome to the spoiler section for... I forgot what this one's called. The Last Jedi.
Yes, that one.
The last one. So, spoiler, he is not the Last Jedi, guys.
Well, technically there is somebody who is the Last Jedi, but it's not.
Yeah, so, okay, so again, this is a spoiler review. Get the fuck out of here if you don't want spoilers. I don't want to hear in the fucking comments section, like, can't believe you guys spoiled The Last Jedi for me. I gave you fucking so much ample warning. So, here it goes. I don't even know where to start.
Honestly,
okay, let me start with Poe and what the fuck his shit was, because Poe's whole scheme to get Finn and Rose onto the ship and stuff. It's one of those classic Star Wars long odds, men on a mission, like plucky,
never tell me the odds
things. And he's frustrated because the new admiral won't tell him, like, hey, what's our plan? We're just losing more and more ships as we're evacuating to the last ship that we got, as we're running away from the new First Order. And she's like, hey, you're not one to question me. You got demoted to captain, so fuck off. And it turns out that there's some sort of new cloaking system that they have, that they're only looking for the front ship, so that they're actually running to a old rebel base that was abandoned that not a lot of people know about, and they're hoping to sneak away quick and kind of hide out until they can regroup.
They send out a distress signal and get help.
So this is after Poe. He only knows this after he mutinies.
Yes.
So yeah, because he is stuck. He mutinies because he thinks this is the only way. The plan actually does not work. Leia comes in, stuns this fucking ass, which is awesome because Leia uses the Force in this movie off and on. It seems like she randomly gets control of it.
Well,
I don't know.
No, when she did that, she had a gun for that.
Did she have a gun for that?
I'm pretty sure she had a stun gun that...
Okay. She definitely used the Force when she was flying around in space.
Yes.
Which, I don't know how space works in the Star Wars universe, but I don't think that's how it actually works.
No, actually, you're actually going to most likely die from freezing than, I believe, suffocation if you're in space.
Mm-hmm. Maybe she can force cocoon herself or
Possibly.
something? I don't know. Seemed like she was out there for a bit. Anyway, she gets blown the fuck up.
Yeah.
In a very violent way.
They take out the bridge of the main ship, and all of a sudden Leia's gone, and...
Dude, Admiral Akbar goes out in this movie like it's nothing.
Didn't see that trap coming.
Oh shit!
He can only detect traps. He cannot see direct hits coming.
Yeah, so that was quite shocking.
It's such a brutal scene that you forget for a few seconds, oh yeah, we know Leia's not dead because we know she shows up in the next movie, despite the fact that, sadly, won't be new shots shown.
Well, they've already shot a bunch of her parts, so they're moving a lot of her scenes to the next movie. It's not like she has a huge part in this movie either.
No.
She gets knocked out for a lot of it too, but she is in this movie for the exact right amount, I believe, because she's not really that important of a character anymore. She is, an elder statesman. She's the head of the rebellion.
Right. She's the symbol of the resistance.
But we're really following Finn and Rey. They're our new main focus. So it's important we get to follow these people, and their stories. In the meantime, Rey is getting trained by Luke. I do love that she has that moment of like, you reach out, and she literally reaches out. And instead of just going, no, that's not it, like Luke has the like, he like tickles her hand with like this reed thing. It's like, do you feel it? Like, oh fuck, I feel something. Yeah, that's the Force. Oh my god, you're so strong with it. Stupid son of a bitch.
And smacks her hand with it.
Dumbass.
I love Sassy Luke so much.
Sassy Luke is awesome. Sassy Luke for life. Kylo Ren is given his side of the story too, of like where Luke had a moment where he sensed that Kylo Ren was like, oh shit, like he's like his like Vader. He's got a lot of anger. There's some darkness brewing inside him, and he thought like, maybe I can end this before a new Vader pops up. And yeah, Kylo Ren catches him at the wrong moment. Is like, the fuck, dude. So there is a moment where you can kind of see where Kylo Ren is coming from, where like, I woke up and you were over me with a lit up lightsaber, looking like you were gonna cut my fucking head off.
I'm pretty sure that if any of my uncles appeared over my body with a weapon, I would probably not react well. Sadly, there are certain ones where I probably wouldn't, but that's a different issue entirely.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know if I would slaughter all of the students or whatever.
I mean, he didn't slaughter all of them. He took some of them with him.
Yeah, which is surprising they never show, like, I'm assuming some of those guards we see later are some of those students.
Could be.
Because they have, like, not lightsabers, but, like, light melee weapon sort of things. Forget. I do love, like, how Luke is like, you think I'm just gonna jump up there with, like, some sort of laser sword and fight off the fucking Empire by myself?
I mean, kind of.
I mean, like, well, I don't know, sort of.
It did before.
I really find it interesting where Rey and Kylo Ren end up, because Rey gets, like, at first she's very antagonistic, but she starts to feel the struggle in Kylo Ren. Like, you don't really want to be here. Like, you're struggling. There's something about you. You're unbalanced, and I think I can bring you back. And she sees the Force in the future. She sees him standing over Snoke as he is turned, and that comes to pass in this fucking movie.
Yeah,
where we get to see Snoke, and Snoke is our pretty typical Sidious type bad guy.
Yeah, he's Palpatine.
Where he's flipping Rey around, telling her like, "Oh, your rebel friends, they're being destroyed right now."
Except this time he doesn't say it. He like shoves her in front of a mirror, like, look at them dying.
So yeah, very, very interesting to see that. While in Kylo Ren's moment of truth here, he shows that Snoke, like, I can see into his mind. He can't trick me. I know all of his feelings. And Kylo Ren's like,
bitch, please.
But I can kind of trick you. It's like, I see him turning the lightsaber and striking down his true enemy. Oh, shit, the irony. Because he turns that lightsaber around. And
this whole entire scene is obviously super reminiscent of, the 6th movie. That just like, okay, so we see this going. Oh, it doesn't quite go where you think it's going, though.
Well, we realized that, like, I think they realized, like, Snoke was never intended to be an interesting main foil, because Kylo Ren is supposed to be our main antagonist here, and they take the tact of just like, man, don't you hate villains like these? Fuck these guys. Don't you wish that, like, every once in a while in the second movie, these guys fucking die and get cut in half? Here you go.
Poor Andy Serkis.
Yeah, and I was like, oh my god. I was looking around the theater, and this is the moment where I was like, I don't know, people were just like, holy shit. I can't believe this is happening. Because then Rey and Kylo Ren tag team on the rest of the fucking bodyguards there, right. And it is fucking awesome. Like, it is a great fucking melee battle. And they're fighting together, and it looks like shit is going their way. And then Rey's like, "Hey, look, we can stop the assault on the rebels if we had in time." And Kylo's like, "Yeah, that's not exactly why I did that. I was more sick of taking that guy's shit. I could totally rule with you though if you're cool with that. You want to sit up here and just rule the galaxy with me, because that's what I'm doing." And it's interesting because they are still in this antagonist relationship of trying to pull one another towards the other side. At one point, literally. Yes. Well, I guess at that point they were trying to pull a lightsaber to the other side of the room.
But it's, it's a metaphor.
And yeah, so Snoke's death just came at a big surprise, and I was just like, that was a great fucking move.
Mm-hmm.
It's good because no one gives a shit about Snoke.
No.
But we all think he's going to live to the third movie because
that's the pattern we're used to.
Because that's how we think things work. Because we've seen movies before. We think we're smart. Like, oh yeah, well, I know how this is going to go.
We've seen Star Wars movies before.
Yeah, and then we don't expect this guy to get cut in half in not even I guess that is the third act of this movie because this movie has 4 acts. But just like halfway through, like, holy shit, he's gone. That's interesting. Yeah, I feel like we have the moment after the mutiny with Poe, in which our admiral sacrifices herself too, and they go like, man, he's spunky. Yeah, I like him. No, not normally a thing you say about someone who just committed a mutiny.
No.
I feel like that should have gone over a little bit different. And I will admit, there is a point where, hey, I'm committing mutiny and I'm taking over the ship because I think you have no plan, and I think I have the only plan that is going to save us. If I were to let someone in on my plan at any point, that would be the moment.
Yeah, it'd be a pretty good idea.
That would be the point where I go, whoa. There's a cloaking thing. Things will work out. Trust me on this. Otherwise, there's not really a reason for her to keep quiet the whole fucking time.
And it does kind of look like they're just going on until they die.
Yeah, and it's like they have no plan, and it's not like that they're the Jedi and are just going like, hey, have faith in the Force or whatever. And they're talking about some people are trying to jump ship because they feel like this is the end times and that shit's gonna go wrong. So there's just, and it's not like the order is on their ass. They don't have to worry about information leaking out. So there's no reason they don't go on the PA system like, hey guys, I know shit looks rough right now, but look, we got a plan and it's totally feasible. This shit's gonna work. Trust me.
Yeah, and it does seem like it's probably one of the weakest part of the movie is the fact that they did this, where I'm like, you couldn't have found some other way of doing this.
It makes the Rebel Alliance look not just as bad as the Empire, where it's like, hey, have blind faith in us, even if we're not going to tell you what we're doing. Which, sure, there's a chain of command. Not everyone needs to know everything. That's a military operation. I get how it works. But there's a moment where everyone who would want to know about this plan is on this fucking ship.
Yeah.
No one's getting off to tell the Empire about it. I doubt you'd have to, you would have to worry about a bunch of other traitors in the crew.
Yeah, they get betrayed by someone off screen anyway.
Yeah. So Poe's last minute ditch attempt, or old style of doing things in the Star Wars movies, totally fucks them.
Yep.
Does not work anymore because you can only roll the dice on those high stake games so many times.
Right.
And the new Resistance was like, we gotta play this shit smart. We gotta pick our battles, and this is not our time. We're gonna play it safe and go on the defensive. And Poe is so aggro of like, no, we gotta take the fight to the Empire every time. And yeah, I thought that was it's a weird thing for them to like, and I get they have to do it, otherwise the story doesn't happen.
And I mean, she does learn a lesson from it, I guess, but
sure. But again, it's like one of the weakest points in the movie where they go like, oh, we still like that guy. Don't you like that guy?
I mean, I do like the guy, but
I mean, I like him, but I can't excuse his actions.
No.
Like he
should probably be court-martialed.
Like, even if you were to believe, like, oh, our Supreme Leader doesn't have a plan, like, I would say, like, hey, I wouldn't, like, mutiny is not the thing I would go to for it, but fine.
And it does seem kind of really weird, too, the fact that he obviously gets other people on the ship involved with it. So it's just like, oh, so...
Well, he's a popular guy. He's a rebel hero. He's got power. People are behind him, which would mean, like, hey... I should let this guy in and get this guy in my inner circle so that, he can get his people behind me too.
Right.
Like they just, it's weird. It's one of those moments where it just doesn't make any sense. Other than that, we have the final battle on the starship where they jumped to hyperspace to fuck up the entire like first order ship with the like last ship that's left. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah, like that was actually one of my favorite scenes of this movie. It was so cool. Phasma
has a short but satisfying final battle with Finn before she falls into a pit and dies.
Presumably.
I mean, I at least appreciate they gave her something to do in this movie. It gives Finn a neat story arc to finally finish off like, hey, I'm back and to prove myself against you that I'm not, you know, I'm rebel scum now.
Right.
And yeah, that one has a groan worthy joke in it too. Like Chrome Dome, really? Like, okay, but yeah, it's ultimately I'm like, man, I wish she would make it to the third movie because I do love her design and her actress is fucking great. So I'm
it's just when they get to the point where they like take off her part of her face armor, all so you see blue. I'm like, hey, look, it's Brienne.
Brienne of Toth, Captain Phasma of the Isle of Sapphires. So yeah, what else?
Well, I do want to talk about the scene with the Vice Admiral or whatever whatever her title is.
Purple hair.
Yeah, purple hair. Holden, I believe her name was.
Oh, okay.
Where like they start actually sending the ships off to the rebel planet to stay there, except for due to the whole casino subplot, they end up getting betrayed by the person that they grabbed from there.
Oh yeah, Benicio del Toro was really fun in this movie too.
Yeah. So like she is the last one left on the ship that for some reason needed a pilot, even though that doesn't make much sense. I assume it could just go for it on its own, but whatever.
No autopilots in the Star Wars universe, Travis.
Apparently not. They couldn't send a droid to do it. I mean, C-3PO's around.
The droids have lives too. Come on, hashtag droids live matters.
C-3PO's life does not matter. Let's face it.
Mm-hmm.
So she starts like jumping to hyperspace and like they're on the Star Destroyer, but like, that thing's jumping to hyperspace. Like, yeah, but why the fuck do we care? We're not after them. We know it's not manned anymore. So what the fuck do we care? Except she turns around and like everyone's like,
oh shit.
Oh, fuck me. So she aims right at the fleet and warps into hyperspace and cuts the fucking fleet in two with her hyperdrive ship.
Makes you wonder why they don't do that more often.
Well, because I assume they don't like suicide missions, they can avoid it.
Sure, but like if things are going bad enough that they would try that shot at it. But
and it's a fucking cool scene because all of a sudden like it's so loud when everyone's like panicking, and all of a sudden it happens and the screen was just quiet and like the whole entire audience was just like silent.
What was like I heard like a bunch of like a fireworks show.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of more people are dying. I like the fact that we've parsed down some of the characters so that we're really focused on some of the new guys. I appreciate the fourth act is really fun. We get to see some new vehicles run around on the Salt planet.
That was really cool design wise.
I did like we did mention it was a Salt planet a couple times, but still we had the one guy grab the ground and lick and go salt. I realized we've been running at this Salt planet for the last 18 hours, and then I landed on this thing probably 6 hours ago. And yeah, I've probably been on this, but this is the first time I've realized, holy shit, this is Salt. And I'm just like, thanks movie. Thanks for so the audience doesn't get left behind. Cause it was really important. Like, why was it so important we knew it was Salt?
I don't know.
Like, they never really brought it up again. Like,
so that they could bring up like, oh, look, this is an aesthetic design we had. I'm like, yeah, it's great. You didn't have to explain it because it's a space planet. I don't really care that when they drag their feet across it becomes red.
Yeah, it looks cool. I mean, I don't feel like me knowing it's Salt makes it any less or more cool.
Like, they don't do something like, oh, hey, it's because of certain properties of Salt this happens. Like,
sure. Like, it's just definitely Salt. I'm like, I get it. It's Salt. For whatever reason, it's very important that I know this, but I know it now, so I'm like, okay. Kylo Ren is back to his bitchy ass self, and I love it. I love that he slaps around General Hux, and that General Hux seems to not remember that Kylo Ren has the Force. Because
to be fair, that's a pretty common trope in Star Wars, where it's like, I'm gonna talk down to you. Oh shit, you have space magic.
Everyone else seems to remember that Kylo Ren has the Force. Mm-hmm. Everyone else seems to be pretty on the ball with it, because when he yells something, everybody else seems to like, yep, okay,
yes sir,
you got it, buddy.
You're the boss.
Like Hux is the only one who's like, that doesn't make any sense. Oh God damn it! It's It's like, dude, how many times do you have to get force choked?
Yeah, but if Hux was in control instead, they might have gotten something done.
Yeah,
Because Kylo Ren is so ruled by his emotions.
Sure. And so we get a final scene with Luke where he shows up, and my god, he comes out like this fucking samurai, and he flips his robe open. He goes into this burning hole of this mini Death Star shows up, and I'm like, okay, guys, not every giant laser has to be based off the Death Star technology. Because it's like, oh, it's miniaturized Death Star technology. Stop using the fucking Death Star! Holy shit. It's like, it's a laser battering ram. Just use a battering ram. It doesn't have to be a Death Star battering ram. Oh man, we're gonna need a key to get into this general's quarters. Don't worry, I have a miniaturized Death Star key based off of Death Star technology. Oh man, I really am into these juicers, but my blender isn't working anymore. I have a laser blender based off of Death Star technology. But don't put the any energy into that one hole on the other port side. Blows up the whole blender. It's just like, how is everything? All of their laser, like, they have one laser design, and that's it.
They spent a lot of money on the design, Nick.
It's a ridiculous amount of Death Star technology.
They have the copyright. They're going to use it.
So, he shows up. They throw all fire at him, and he just shoots him out. It's basically like any anime you've ever seen where they shoot lasers at Frieza. It's like, okay, well, through the clouds, like, that's probably gotten him, right? Has that ever worked in any other anime ever?
No.
So, Luke, shows up again after the dust is settled, and it's like, he must be really powerful with the Force, because I've known other Jedi who cannot block those blasts.
And he literally shrugs it.
He does this move where he dusts off his elbow, like, the look on his face, he is visually going to Kylo Ren like,
bitch, please.
Come on, bitch. You gotta come harder than that. And it was so sassy. Mm-hmm. It was so sassy. I loved it. Love sassy Luke. I cannot stress that enough. This is a great fucking turn for this character. Just like, bitch, you better be serious. You better come and be real. So he has a final face-off with Kylo Ren. They dance around a little bit. And this is a great gotcha moment for me, is that he does the whole Ben Kenobi thing of like, if you strike me down in anger, I'll just be with you the rest of your life, like your father. And it's just like, bitch, you don't say anything about my dad! And he tries to slide through, Luke slices his ass through, Luke just turns around like, oh, I'm sorry, what was that? And it's like, what the fuck? And he pokes him, and at first I thought it was a hologram, but no, it's a force projection. Which I'm like, God, I didn't even know that the Force could do that.
That's a pretty long distance, too.
Yeah, and he's like, see you around, kid. And he dissipates, and it's just like, fuck yeah! That was the great fucking moment. I was just, I'm gonna put my fist in the air like, yeah, you tell his ass, Luke. Because you realize that Kylo Ren just spent the last 15 minutes doing nothing.
Yep.
Like, totally fucks him.
It makes a lot more sense when you realize, like, oh yeah, he didn't just block all those shots, he just wasn't there.
Yeah, it totally makes more sense. And yeah, also the battle that preceded it too, with the Falcon coming in at the last minute, shooting some shit down. Also very fun. A lot of cool inventive stuff in that.
Also, if you think about it, Leia knew he wasn't there.
Yeah, she totally she knew on that one, I think, too.
Because no, he hands her the dice.
Yeah, they're not there.
Of their Hans, and she left them behind, and then they disappear. So she wouldn't have left that behind if she thought it was real.
I love that image. Now, here's another part that on one level works and on one level doesn't for me too. Is that we see him on his planet, force projecting, and he was like, floating. He's doing all the cool shit, real Yoda stuff. And also we see Yoda in this movie.
Well, we need to talk about that because I love that scene.
Yeah. Okay. So, but first we'll talk about the Luke thing. So he then he does the Ben Kenobi thing of disappearing and becoming one with the Force.
Yeah, I didn't
which, don't get me wrong, is cool, because I love the whole becoming one with the Force death scene for Jedi, because it's like this transcendent meditative thing of like, I am now ascended to the point where I get it now, my arc has become full and complete, and now I can just become part of the energy, and very zen sort of thing. The only thing that's weird about it is that you think that like that's what they're going to do when Kylo Ren cuts him through, and he's like, okay, we're gonna do the Ben Kenobi thing. But obviously they didn't want to do that exactly, because it'd be ripping off New Hope. So then you do the next best thing of this force projection. So I'm like, oh shit. And like the whole audience is like, you thought you knew what we were going to do, huh? You thought we were going to do. We totally got you. And like, yeah, you got me. Okay, we're going to do it. Wait, what?
Yeah.
And then they do it. And I was like, oh, it's weird because you're riding off the high of him getting it one over on Kylo Ren.
Yeah, you're so excited. It's like, oh my god, Luke lived, that's awesome. And then he dies.
And I mean, I guess it's not a huge deal because now we've introduced Force Ghosts can just show up at any time. Yeah. So obviously he can be in the next movie and train up Rey a little bit more.
I guess.
I mean, we've established that as a kind of a previous thing. So yeah, it was totally weird for me. I was like, huh. I don't get me wrong, I like both of these things. I like the Force projection storyline, and I like the becoming the one with the Force storyline. It just felt weird they came run right after one another.
Yeah, it makes the first scene seem less impactful, and where it's like, oh, he could have just been there the whole time anyway then. Mm-hmm.
Well, I liked it because I just assumed that he had his X-wing in the water or whatever. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, we'll get a scene where like Rey lifts that up or whatever, and like it's like Empire or whatever. Like, right. No, I didn't actually do that. I can't. That thing's been fucked. That thing's been soaked in water for like years now. I had to force project myself. And yeah, I mean, I explains why his hair is different in that scene too. There's a lot of things that you should be clued in on why that's a force projection that don't register for whatever
you just don't think of it. Because again, they tricked us by making it seem like, oh yeah, we've seen this scene before. We know what happens.
Yeah, because he has his lightsaber, his blue lightsaber, which I'm like, shouldn't that like it? And I realized it after the fact, like, oh yeah, that should have been green.
Yeah, it should have been green.
Yeah, and I'm like, and during the scene, never thought about any of that shit once. And it's almost like the movie is trying to let you in on it. Like, hey, he has his blue lightsaber, his hair is different, he's wearing different clothes. Like, there shouldn't be a real reason he's gotten there so fast. Mm-hmm. Like, but for whatever reason, like maybe it's just because the moment he walks out there, I'm just thinking of how badass this is. I'm not really thinking about it.
Although, really think of it though, he almost fucked over the rebels too. Cause they see him come, like, cause they're in this fortress that, apparently has no way out, except for the front door. Yeah, and he shows up from like the back, and they're like, "Wait, if he showed up, that means there must be a back way in." Like, no, he just teleported there, so you actually didn't know that.
So you guys, your asses, you are lucky sons of bitches.
Yes. But yeah, I want to talk about the Yoda scene because, like I said, Yoda does show up. When Rey leaves, Luke decides, okay, you know what? Fuck the whole Jedi Order. I'm gonna burn the texts, and then we're gonna be done with this shit. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So, like, they're being held in a tree for some reason, and Luke's like, nope, gonna get a torch, gonna torch this whole shit. So he walks in with the whole determination of torching this thing and, like, erasing all the Jedi history.
Yep.
And then Yoda shows up like, Luke, you're so funny.
And because Luke hesitates and he doesn't know if he wants to, like, as much as he's talked shit throughout this entire movie, he still clings to that old way of thinking.
Yep, and he even, like, basically threatens you, like, no, I'm gonna do it, no, I'm gonna do it. Yoda's like, you think you're sassy, bitch, please. And he summons lightning to torch the tree.
So, hold up.
Yeah.
1 sec.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
Force Ghosts can summon lightning?
Apparently.
What the fuck? How is that? So, you're telling me you could have just summoned lightning in your ghost form at any point through any of these series?
Possibly.
Maybe, I don't know, throw some lightning, maybe in Force Awakens, maybe save Han Solo, maybe do some others. Well, like, it makes, like, I mean, I realize that they're gonna do, like, we can't affect things in the real world. I'm like, except when we do, because I totally lit that tree up. See that whole Jedi Order? That's gonna fuck over that's gonna really adjust things how we go through. I'm like, okay, so when are you affecting the real world? God damn it.
It's all about balance.
That's all, again, that's that Force fucking balance, like, ghost rule shit that always happens with that. So, like, there's a grander plan or whatever. But yeah, Yoda shows up and he's awesome.
I love it.
I can't tell if they CG'd up a puppet, but he definitely looks more like he did in the original trilogy than he does in the prequels. And yeah, he gives Luke a talking to. I'm just like, hey, you're always like you were when you're youth. You're looking ahead. You're so afraid of what's going to happen next. You're blind to what's happening right now.
Right.
And that was a pretty cool moment too of like, the being forward thinking is good and all, but you have to live in the moment and realize, like, don't let the fear of the future paralyze you. today, which is what Luke's main flaw in this movie is, that he's let fear rule him for so long.
He also doesn't, like, that's the reason he doesn't want to train Rey, is because he sees too much of his nephew in her.
So yeah, great fucking scene with Yoda. I thought Ben Kenobi was going to show up for a minute too. But I realized, like, what are they going to do? I guess they can get Ian McGregor. And just, like, have him show up. That'd be kind of fun. I don't know. I'm really looking forward to the next film as well. I mean, it's going to be way different with Kylo Ren now in charge. Luke being gone, Rey being a much more prominent, like, she's going to be at like the spear of the rebellion now as the last fucking Jedi. I'm not crazy about the whole Rose subplot being Finn's new romantic interest, because that makes me think that there's going to be a love triangle going on, and you know how I love those. But also, that was a weird scene too, where she saves Finn at the very end from sacrificing himself by running her ship into him, and it's like, why would you do that? I was gonna do, like, why would you, like, how silly, we're not gonna fight. And it is a cool arc of, like, which is another thing that is brought up in the casino arc of, like, he thinks, like, they've won a great victory because we stuck it to the man or whatever. It's like, no, the real victory was us freeing these sentient beings and saving these people and doing a good deed. It's not about fucking over somebody else. Like, two wrongs don't make a right.
Right.
So, like, that's the other payoff for the casino arc that would also not work as great if the casino arc wasn't there. So I get that I get that it's
well, they also have that closing scene too.
Yeah. So they're like, and like, so then Rose like, yeah, you silly, we're not gonna win this war by fighting the ones we hate. We're gonna win this war by saving the ones we love. And, you know, the two philosophical differences between that. I mean, it's not as big as the old versus new mentality, but it's there. And then she kisses him, and I'm like, oh, is that what we were doing?
Yeah.
Because I gotta tell you, man, I'm not sure if it was the lack of chemistry between them, because I thought they had great chemistry between them as, like, friends or whatever.
Right.
Like, I'm like, oh, this is fun. This is a fun new character.
Well, if we're going to have chemistry, then Poe and Finn be fucking already. Let's face it.
Well, I mean, they only share, again, like, one scene in this movie, but, like, I mean, it's not as bad as the Force Awakens scene, where he bites his lip, where it's like, man, that jacket looks good on you, and then bites his lip after, like, okay, come on. Like, what's happening here? Like, so yeah, that was a weird thing. Like, the kiss was like, it felt like, oh, okay.
Especially when, like, all their friends are dying in the background. It's a really awkward place to have a kiss.
Well, I mean, they've done that before in other movies. And
yeah.
I mean, if you sell it enough, like that, the setting, usually it doesn't matter.
Well,
I mean,
this one did.
People are crying at the end of Titanic, even though, like, it makes no sense he can't share that fucking door with Jack. The reason the scene doesn't work is not because of the setting, it's because they haven't sold this relationship, but at all. Like, I'm like, I actually kind of want to watch the movie again to see if was I completely oblivious? Because I didn't see, normally I at least see one scene going like, oh, okay, one of them is into the other one, sort of thing.
Well, you can kind of get it from Rose's perspective, I guess, because she has a few moments, like, in the casino where it's like, look how amazing this is that we're doing this stuff.
But that doesn't lead to her having romantic feelings for Finn.
Yeah.
The only thing in the beginning was that, like, oh my god, you're a hero of the rebellion, which is just treated as hero worship and is basically dropped as soon as she's like, dude, you were gonna run away? Fuck you. And it's that hero worship is dropped at that, and then they kind of have a contentious relationship, but end up being friends because it's like, okay, you were doing things not only for yourself, but for another person that you love. I get that. I just lost my sister. I can relate. That's why they are relating to each other, and I got that from their performances. But the one thing I didn't get was that, oh man, I'm totally digging on this Finn guy, because it does feel like Finn is as surprised as us.
Yeah, it's like, oh, she kissed me. Okay,
Finn is definitely our audience avatar yet again, because he is like, wait, what? Is this what we're doing? It felt like John Boyega in the scene is like, oh, was this written in the script?
I didn't see the script. What?
Like, it's so out of nowhere. Like, I was very, like, out of all the shocking things that happened in this movie, I was shocked multiple times, and I was shocked there too. I was like, okay.
Oh, you know what might happen instead? Instead of a love triangle, it might be a love quadrangle, because maybe it's just Oscar Isaac wants to fuck everybody, because even in this movie where, like, he meets Rey, and, like, it's like, oh yeah, I'm Rey, and he's kind of like, I know. And like,
oh really? You read that? Because I read it as like, oh yeah, I've heard a lot about you. My crush is always talking about you, and I'm a jealous bitch about it.
Nah, for me it seemed more like it was kind of an eye fucking, but
it's hard to tell with Poe because he has this scoundrel look about him as well. So he kind of treats everybody like, hey, I'm the cool guy. I'm the Han Solo of this movie. Nice to meet you. Like, even with the purple admiral hair or whatever, she was like, oh man, is that the one general from this one battle that I guess we'll never mention again? Like that's awesome. And he gets up there like, oh hey there, how you doing? I'm the hero of this piece. If you'd like to give me my regular job back, that'd be great. I'm sorry, you're demoted to captain. I don't think you heard me. I'm
Leia bitch slaps him too. That was great.
Oh god damn it!
Like how dare you?
Like, come on, I was doing the Han Solo. Like, you are not Harrison Ford.
Like, honestly, I kind of want to sort of say in the movie, like, if you do remind me of my husband, I'd be demoting you even more. Like,
you scruffy looking nerf herder, you. Hey, that is our word.
Pretty sure that's her word.
We get to see a final scene with one of the kids from the casino stables or whatever, that horse racing thing. And you and Ashley saw this, but I guess I didn't see it because either I missed it or like the ball was different. You said that he lifted the broom with the force.
He walked outside and there was like a broom against the door and he does not touch it. From what I saw, he did not touch that broom. It went into his hands.
Did he kickflip it like some people do with the thing? Because I don't know what it was because I wasn't like I was looking away or anything, and I completely missed it.
Like maybe it was the lighting and we were both looking at it wrong, but from what I got out of that was that kid was force sensitive.
Okay. Also cool. I do like the ending, Rebellion Signet thing. That's a nice, ending of hope on it. I mean, it's not the downer that Empire is, like, for its ending of just like, oh shit, it's really bad. It does feel like, hey, we have to, although they send out that distress signal and at first no one answers them back, and then later you think like, oh, okay, well, maybe they'll get answers back later. And it's like, at least by the end of this movie, no one fucking answered. No one picked up the phone, dude.
They said the message was received, and yeah, it's like message read, no one sent.
Yeah, and I'm
how awkward would that be? It's like you go up to someone like, I called for help. What happened here? Like, oh, I didn't get the message. Yeah, but you have your message read comment on here, guys. We saw that it happened.
Oh, I saw that, but then I swiped over it and I just forgot about it.
It woke me up. I saw it in the middle of the night. I forgot about it. I'm so sorry. Oh, it's awkward.
I don't know. I'm very interested to see this movie. I recognize the flaws in it, but overall, man, it's a fun fucking ride. I'm excited to go back and see it again to see if I can't see some like clues leading up to some of these bigger plot twists, to see if they were trying to lead me along a little bit more. Because I was surprised at how surprised I was at some of these moments. With that, I think we can wrap it up. Anything else we want to mention in the spoiler section?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think we pretty much covered it. I mean, there's a lot of other little moments, but, I don't want to, run down the whole movie. We'd be here all day.
We'd be here for 2.5 hours.
Just go see it, man. It's a fun time. With that, I think, until the next time, may the Force be with you, and we're Unapologist, and we're out.